Varus still on the table? Wait, BLG have now access to Nefiri and Rumble here?
Did they do it? Mark, if Rumble the Fury is getting picked here, I think it's an abort button angle. That's all I'm going to say.
Wow.
I think it's an abort. I will say the Fury, we are on 0.7, right? The Fury did get some changes, got a couple nerfs.
That's fair. There's the Rumble.
Yeah, we expect that. So, okay, going to be Rumble Vi. I got to say, I don't love the Vi in the Fury. So I still feel like Nefiri is still very playable in this game.
I mean, you're going to have guaranteed setup on everything else, but the Nefiri is so much harder to actually lock down reliably as the Vi. Like, if you're engaging at max range with cease and desist, it's just so easy to outplay it.
Nefiri?
But ThunderTalk are actually going to forego the Nefiri. They'd rather have some more reliable skirmishing power and setup with Beichuan on something that can facilitate the rest of the map. They're not playing for the jungle. And SeTab with the Galio as well.
They got Hoya, the Galio versus Rumble matchup. So Hoya gets to play a bit of a tank and a matchup that is pretty positive for the Galio. That said, MF going to come in as the answer into the Varus. I don't love MF this game. You have a lot of early strength, but again, into Xin, Varus, Galio, I feel like there's a lot of things that can kind of get you around bullet time with that Xin ultimate. And Galio has a lot of threat to actually interrupt and pressure you. So would love to see some more peel taken here for the MF against the front line. I think for ThunderTalk, a Braum ban would be okay here. It is a pickup that they could go with as well. But I think that's an option. And then also maybe even taking away a Silas from Knight. I feel like Knight, if you're going to ban Silas against Knight, I never really have a big problem with that. He already has access to some good ultimates to take, and he can be that kind of flex beefcake that can do some work in the front line here for BLG. So, that said, double range support's banned out. They definitely, I mean, they might be looking to blind like an Alistar or something like that.
Yeah, if it's not the Silas, I imagine it's the Ahri coming in for Knight. Always reliable to play with something like the Vi, who will...
I want a Silas ban here. I'd be really scared to give him Silas. I just don't think they deal with it that well. Again, you have counter pick if it ends up being Silas now, but okay, Rakan banned. Well, the choice for BLG. We'll see if it's a blind mid or if On ends up blinding his champ. Okay, this helps with the MF Wombo identity.
I mean, I was about to say, that would be goading TT to pick the Alistar if it was just an early rel lock-in.
You can still threaten the Silas later on. I don't think you could pick Alistar with Silas up in this game. But that said, it's going to be the Talia.
Could SeTab not pick Silas for himself, or would the counter pick be too devastating in Knight's hands?
I don't love Silas like going into the MF rel. I think that's hard. That said, Alistar is still going to be locked in. So no Silas to threaten. But they are expecting a rel on the other side. And of course, in the Talia, you have some options. Control Mage can be nice. Ahri as well. A little bit more engage and some mobility against the Rumble Vi MF. I do like the Ahri pick a lot this game. So I feel like this is a draft that TT can win. They are going to get heavily outranged, and you will have to really push forward hard into Talia MF rel, which can be kind of hard. But if they are able to get Alistar, get Xin in there, the follow-up with Galio is big. So it's going to be on BLG to initially kind of pull back with the fight and try and find the reset, the re-engages. Want to see Bin be disciplined with these equalizers and see if some of these red carpets can come out maybe on top of his team, because that could be quite valuable this game with what TT is presenting as a draft.
It really does depend on who is pressing the engage forward first. You know, is it ThunderTalk going in with Alistar and Xin Zhao, and then are you forced to then, you know, use Equalizer as a deterrent and punish them for overextending and overforcing the play? Or are you following up on the Rel Magnastorm? Are you following up on the Vi engage as well? There's some flexibility in what you can do, but it just comes down to in recognizing those moments and picking the right actions from this Rumble. As we saw what Sheer was able to do with this champion and being able to turn around in game 1 for FPX against IG. And we know that Ben, no stranger to being a star on this Rumble champion. We're heading into game 1 between these two teams. ThunderTalk was able to pull an upset over BLG back during the group stage of Split 1. BLG answered back. It is now the 3rd best of series we have seen from them this season so far. Let's see how it plays out as we load up onto the Rift for game 1.
I'm waiting for him, Raafaa.
I was waiting for the Jalios too.
Yeah.
Everyone's so tense in the audience. Maybe they're saving it for game 3 if they're expecting
they
this
were loud
one.
in game 3.
They were super loud in game 3.
I like that. I don't know if we missed him or not. Oh. Nope, that was just the PA. Well, that was anticlimactic, Raafaa.
It's okay.
We're trying to be
gave,
respectful.
Yeah, we gave
Honor
BLG
great
and TT
LPL tradition.
the space. We got to see cool cinematic opening of both teams in the Nexus.
Hey, Raafaa.
What's up?
This is a Poke Ferris, which I can understand in this game. It might be hard to be on hit. ThunderTalk's really lacking some damage, though. I almost thought it'd be like a potential for non-hit Varus, just given how much lack of damage they have with the tank Galio, the Xin, Ahri. Again, Ahri, we'll see what build it is for Ahri, but you have options. We have seen a lot of that Roa build. Might be tricky here.
Ooh, cleanse immediately popped by 1xn just to make sure that the Ignite did not get the full duration. I'm curious, though. I mean, like, most of BLG's composition is bruisers. Oh, well, you have Rumble, Vi, who are not tanks. You have Talia, MF. People. Yeah, they're not tanks. I mean, like, I don't think TT are in, like, that kind of a detriment without an attack speed Varus this game.
No, they aren't. They're just low damage as a team overall. And I know that the initial graph that we've seen on LPL kind of flies win probabilities for the drafts, the comps. It showed a +2% for TT early and then a -2% for them later on with BLG kind of overtaking the scaling. I definitely feel like that's how this game rolls. As if they aren't able to really utilize the mid game of the Galio and have some powerful fights in moments, then I do feel like that this tank pick ends up falling off and Rumble just ends up being massive as these games go on.
Right now, in getting the upper hand as he hits level 3 first, able to control the wave against Hoya. Beichuan pathing towards the top side, whereas Wei mirrors it, pathing towards the bottom side, playing for Elkadon. And to their credit, 1xn now down to cleanse, still has a flash available, but if On were able to connect that Q flash while Wei is in range to follow up, could be the makings of a decent bot lane snowball.
It's still likely to be a slow game. I think the big win cons here for me with ThunderTalk, an opportunity to make plays on Knight on a side later on with Ahri going hunting and then maybe Hoya or Beichuan tailing. That and then trying to maintain mid priority, of course, with the Poke Varus who does dominate those waves. For me, a lot of focus should be on ThunderTalk early, given the drafts, just because I think the onus is really on them to make some plays. Speaking of plays, Knight already TP'd back in. Going to drop the Unraveled Earth. Beichuan was looking to maybe find a little bit of poke, a little bit of harass, but we are going to have a mismatch here as Beichuan started out his Raptors. Wei beat him here.
Oh, but Beichuan had a feeling and also dropped a ward, so was able to spot Wei before he could throw that Q forward. And now that it's off cooldown, can't really threaten. TP also from SeTab right on the ward next to the Raptor Pit just to ensure that Beichuan does not get contested on the second rotation of Raptors. Really nice for TT so far, as the ward in the Tri-Bush made it so that Wei was not able to make a play onto the bot lane while 1xn's cleanse is down, forced to reset, and has to go through his full clear cycle again on the top side. So 1xn and Feather are safe to push this wave in since they've also got Beichuan behind them on that Krug camp.
Yeah, I will say that the one member we haven't really talked about yet from ThunderTalk that I think was a big part of their Split 1 splash in the league was actually SeTab. Of course, one of these LCK Challengers League players that has been coming over. SeTab was never really able to find his footing, a starting spot in the LCK. but didn't come to the LPL to roll over. He was really good in Demacia Cup and Split 1, 2. I don't feel like we've seen the same pop-offs from him in Split 2. But still, he was a big part of the victory that they had against BLG earlier on.
Yeah.
Not someone that was necessarily, like, you know, immensely outplaying Knight, but someone that was just playing really well in the games and has been really big on the melee picks. So, want to see if SeTab, again, has a counter in this game and looks to be going for that Roa or Ari build early on. I want to see if he can make a splash in this one.
Yeah, Yasuo in particular was a standout game from SeTab in that first split. Now, ThunderTalk making the proactive lane swap, already sending Hoya onto the bot side while one extended Feather immediately beelining towards the top, as it's the story.
They're going to get a TP.
Vying for the grubs. And yeah, they actually get a TP out of Bin since Hoya was here first and shoved in that wave before Bin could make his way towards the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, so TP's even going to be mismatched as Hoya TP'd first, but you can see Hoya, if he has pushing these lanes, opportunity for him to walk up, and 6 minutes in, a rotation from ThunderTalk. It does have them on the grubs on spawn. Hoya going to scout away, hitting the dragon, and this could be a handshake.
I think BLG just recognizing that because, okay, well, Bin can get some decent damage on the Hoya, but good use of the Aftershock proc by the taunt to absorb as much damage as he can. BLG just recognizing that since Hoya got the first move, there's no chance that they were going to have the best numbers advantage for those grubs, just ensuring that they don't flip something unnecessarily and give an advantage over to TT, just taking the trade and keeping the game even.
I think strength-wise, BLG is smart to drop that, so I appreciate them not taking that fight. I think Galio at 6 can be really scary and nullifying the Rumble. Then you get SeTab that can attack on the Ari, and I like the response here from Wei. Knows the Raptor third spawn timer was there for the second one. Had a good idea. Okay, base is canceled here. Some tempo killed. Hoya going to cancel his base well. They're maybe trying to swap back. Well played from On.
Yeah. I was curious to see if BLG were going to try to take advantage of that. Okay, nice interrupt from Feather, at least being able to dodge the flip, but Elk, does he want to flash for another auto attack? Yes, he does! Gets first, kill of the game, but now Elk might be in trouble since he has no flash, and SeTab has 2 more Spirit Rushes and an Orb of Deception to follow up. Equalizes the kill board, 1-1.
Yeah, I love the rotation here from ThunderTalk too. Of course, SeTab has to go up here. That's a trade up in kills, but the response, Hoya walking mid, is better for me. Because they can actually get the swap that they wanted in the first place. They're sending their bot lane back bot, whereas the response now from BLG, they're going to send their bot lane mid, and we're going to see where they go afterwards. Have the option to try and match 1xN and Feather on the map or not, as you take a moment look. Elk did have a BF sword for this, so Feather getting locked up like this, not the fight they want. Again, want to be pokey with the Varus, lean on that, and the Hussein from the Alistar, and not take that all in against the MF Rel. Of course, SeTab did drop this wave to rotate off and kill Elk. Well worth it by him. So the fact that Elk did get removed from the map, I feel like it's a small win for TT in the end. I just like how they rotated well outside of it. As in the end, we still have BLG kind of rotating and responding to it. Going to be a weird lane for the Rumble. Going to have to catch this wave from the Ari, and we'll see if he makes his way up to actually match the Galio afterwards.
Yeah. Big thing for TT. No flash on Elk. He still has Cleanse available, so if a Chain of Corruptions does connect, he at least can try and run for his life and pop the strut from his W. Speed on away from a potential engage or collapse if TT want to punish this window. As we've returned to not quite standard lanes, as mid laner is currently facing top laner on the top side, but Finn making his way over. Should rectify things. Feather trying to fight for vision control while On maintaining a defensive line. He's got Wei on this bottom side of the quadrant. Still a couple minutes away before the next dragon spawns, whereas a minute and 13 seconds away from the second rotation of grubs here.
I will say the Drake for grub trade, I think is kind of in favor of BLG. I think that the way that ThunderTalk wants to play is they don't necessarily want to play 3 lanes, so I don't think they're going to abuse grubs as much. It really is in this mid game when you play this Galio in a Rumble matchup. It's about what you can get leaving lane as the Galio, where again, Rumble eventually overtakes you in this game. You are here to nullify the matchup, not exactly, and like the Galio, not exactly to win it. As at the moment, SeTab.
Good charm. But he's now going to deal with a 4-man dive. Cease and desist will deny any outplay potential from SeTab. A flash was expended, and it just isn't enough.
Should be enough time, too, for BLG to respond on the map. Will be a couple plates taken bot side, but a good kill to remove the Ahri, as it will delay the Roa coming in for SeTab.
Been using the equalizer to kill the wave on the top side, but won't have that ulti available to contest for the grubs.
I think they're giving it.
Yeah.
They might try and snag one, but again, I think it's kind of a roll of the dice of, hey, we don't think your comp can really abuse the grubs as much as others. And I gotta say, from BLG's perspective, I agree. Like your grub abusers are a Poke Varus, a tank Galio, and then an Ahri, who should be the one winning side lanes, and the side lane that I want to see ThunderTalk really overload support with the Xin, Galio, and Alistar moving forward. But if you are able to get the first 2 Drakes for giving up the first 6 grubs, I gotta say this is one of the rare games where I kind of agree with the gambit from BLG. Usually I think 6 grubs are too much to give up, but for this game, I don't think that's the case. I think BLG is actually getting the better of the map. Yeah,
as you called it out, none of the champions on TT side really have ways to abuse that 6 grubs by themselves. Unironically, the best person that might be able to use it is Beichuan, because at least he has an attack speed steroid, but you have to proc it on minions, you know? He has to charge on a minion wave or a champion and then start whacking the turret. He gets the auto reset with the Q, but the scenario that happens is not very likely in normal circumstances, probably just post fights. We'll say, if we get to late game scenario and it comes down to making another base race and making it close like FPX did against IG in their first series, you know, could be clutch. You know, who knows? Who knows?
Raafaa, this isn't the same series as the first series. You're just gonna have to accept that, all right?
Listen, man, it was so awesome. I need to see it again.
Some action though. I know you know, first
2K.
series bring it up, implies action.
SeTab.
SeTab.
Good smite from Wei, secures it. Now it's just all about the exit strategy. On, he's able to crash down over the wall. SeTab following up with the Spirit Rush. Good stun by On, and the flash from Beichuan forces On's flash as well. Elf might be compromised, but SeTab is just a little too deep. Bullet time is gonna at least create some damage, but Wei still goes down thanks to the hero's entrance from Hoya. But now TT, they have to commit to getting out of here since Bin is getting a lot of damage on the top side.
Yeah, I just don't think that this was fully worth from TT. They lose the Dragon. They spent so much to only get 1 kill. Bin doesn't get a ton. Again, it's no grubs on his team, but the 2 Dragons going over to BLG, and a lot of tools expended just to get 1 kill. I mean, Beichuan went really deep. SeTab burned the TP. Hoya left the lane and burned his ult, and the lanes were all cleaned up, pushed in by BLG, so they're sitting with a little bit of gold in their shoulders. And again, take a second look. SeTab throwing the charm out like that, I just didn't get. I feel like you want to wait for guaranteed CC, and then you can follow up with the skill shot. So that fish is a little bit off and prevented SeTab from maybe being able to follow up this portion of the fight faster. He gets chunked out by the re-engage from Wei, gets the Galio ult as Hoya comes in, but again, in the back half, Bin was able to get that top tower down. We saw a wave crash bot by BLG in the post play, and they walk out with the Dragon and a little bit of extra gold in their shoulders despite the kill going over to ThunderTalk. And ThunderTalk burned a lot of tools to get that singular kill, so I think it was worth it for BLG.
Yeah, an overall TP advantage for BLG as well, something that they can play to their own strength and maybe find a window. I mean, the fact that Knight is playing something like the Talia, where he doesn't even need to use the teleport to necessarily collapse on a side lane quickly. You have so many ways to really play the map and make fast rotations now for the next, what is the TP cooldown, like the next 4 minutes here?
Yeah, I mean, depending on if you have the Summoning Insight or spell or not.
Sure.
You know, with the bonus spell CDR.
Okay. Well, they're going to jump onto On. They know that he doesn't have flash, and should be a kill there. Feather flashing forward to guarantee the stun. The Magnastor buys some time, and On is going to escape. Now the re-engage. Maybe they can find something here. Elk is trying to put as many auto attacks as he can while Wei is absorbing as much damage, and Bin is now teleported into the flay. Equalizer is going to force 1xM to run, but Elk is flashing forward, and now he's got a Varus in his sights. Bullet time rips through SeTab's health bar, and Bin should do enough with the Flame Spoiler to cook him on a spit. The rest of BLG punishing ThunderTalk where they stand, and it's an ace for BLG.
Oh, it's a disaster for ThunderTalk, and a banger start to the split 2 proper split for BLG, as everything was burned onto the engage. I thought that he would have at least gone down. He snuck out for free, and then Elk just ran the back half of the fight on this MF.
And just like that, Matt, BLG take one good fight, find themselves 4,000 gold. Take a look back at the river. As you called it, it was so close to killing on, but he just barely sneaks out.
And then, again, everyone's locked up. Really nice wall from Knight. Flashes out of the charm from SeTab. Yes, I mean, he almost goes down, but the Sundered Sky mileage was huge there. Hoya grouping up. I can't reach Elk, and Elk was the one who flashed forward. Has an insane angle on this ultimate. Beautiful fight from Elk. Really enabled by the fact that ThunderTalk used so many tools to try and get away, try and get on, and neither went down.
An investment that goes asunder for ThunderTalk BLG now.
And it kind of goes back to my initial point, Raafaa. Like, where's the damage on this ThunderTalk squad? They just don't have enough with this comp. Again, everything burned to the on. Like, no more damage outside of that. SeTab gets caught. Gonna be
trying to flash away.
Saves all. Okay, but
yeah.
Hey, expensive cooldown. Well played by BLG.
Wade didn't have cease and desist available, but they got a decent prize out of it. No flash on Ari now. Rift Herald aggroed by ThunderTalk, but nowhere near close to being finished here. BLG gonna have enough time to collapse in. Maybe look for something. Hoya has the first move. Hero's entrance at the ready. Weaver's Wall from Knight allows him to collapse. Feather forced to pop the ultimate for that damage reduction. Beichuan tries to step up. Buy some base here. Oh, Hoya with a decent flank right onto Knight, but the bullet time is going to ring true once again. And Wade secures the Rift Herald. SeTab falls, and the rest of BLG have their way with the fight once again. Beichuan on the run. Tries to go into the 3-talon strike, but just not enough damage in the tank. BLG are running away with this one, as now Hoya, the tank on the Galio, just no longer surrounded by the damage dealers of ThunderTalk, as
no TP.
Actually might... I don't think he's actually getting away. Because there's a Vi there to cut off his escape route. And now the gold lead has extended, Matt. 6,000 advantage for BLG. This seems pretty much over at this point.
And this is the BLG that everyone fears in LPL, right? How they can blow maps up, it really is only them. Again, I just don't think the ThunderTalk has the damage with this comp. I don't like the pairing of the Poke, Varus, Ari, Galio. Like, that's just no damage out of your 3 lanes. And they're behind here. Elk was able to fire off a big bullet time, and all the time burned from Rookie early on, and the lack of damage that ThunderTalk really able to put down at the start of the fight. Like, just never a position where it feels like they can actually find a winning angle here, Raafaa. And BLG just continue to run away with this game. That soul point secured pre-18 minutes. Ocean Soul on the map. Going to be even harder for the lack of damage on ThunderTalk to get through BLG. As, yeah, I mean, really feels like this game's already wrapped.
Yeah, BLG haven't taken that many towers yet, but this Rift Herald will be the markings of the 3rd taken. Could look for another charge, but I don't think ThunderTalk are going to give them that opportunity, as Bin getting jumped on by Beichuan. There's no flash on this Rumble, but not a lot of damage behind this Xin Zhao, especially on something as durable as the Rumble.
And again, I love the read. Like, for me, the criticisms of BLG in Split 1, a lot of it was like, you know, are these guys taking it seriously? And a lot of early game comps were chosen where they weren't able to really snowball things fast enough and ended up getting outscaled in some of those swap games. I love the direction from BLG this game. Again, there are very few games in the league where I advocate for a team to actually drop 6 grubs for the first 2 Drakes completely. This is one of those games. I think that BLG did a great job of recognizing that, executing it. The fights have been very clean. It feels like ThunderTalk have really no way to win in this game. And it has been good play off of BLG as that speed continues.
Oh, man. Cease and desist right on the bullet time, but 1xN is able to flash away from him, and Beichuan is threatening Elk. It pushes him away,
down.
But hang on. Wait a minute. Wade does fall to SeTab, but Beichuan trying to absorb all the attention right now. Finally falls on, trying to continue the charge here. Feather on the wrong side of the wall. Still has a flash available. Finally uses it. Gets out alive, but the rest of BLG still fighting. 4v4, Charm connects on to On. Hoya dashes in with the Justice Punch, and Feather trying to see if he can rejoin the fight here, but just can't get his way around the wall. It's just too much time. The Equalizer finds its moment to cook SeTab once again. Feather falls in succession. BLG double kill for Elk. And it just seems to be the story continuing to write itself. BLG as the expected victors, and they are living up to the script.
Yeah, you might have beaten us in split 1, not going to beat us in split 2. I think is what BLG is saying right now. And that fight, like, it kind of looked close, but the whole time Bin was sitting on Equalizer, was just waiting for, you know, the Alistar ult to run out, Ori ult to expire, dropped that in the back half of the fight and made it look easy.
Credit to 1xN. He still had a flash, was able to get away at least from the brunt of the damage, but yeah, that BLG is just so far ahead.
Even that flash, though, was like Feather did a nice job actually interrupting the combo from Knight, so it wasn't even necessary because he was trying to flash the flick that was going to come in. Feather did a nice job of interrupting that, and then again, back half of the fight, Bin was waiting for Equalizer to come up, so couldn't fire it yet, but the late Equalizer, like after SeTab, no ult, after Hoya goes down and no Alistar ult either, really hard to play out the rest of the fight. ThunderTalk, they are behind, didn't fall further behind thanks to BLG just kind of beating him at this point.
8,000 gold advantage for BLG now. 3 dragons to their name. 2 minutes away from being able to secure Ocean Soul for themselves. You know, normally in other states, we would talk about, you know, win conditions that ThunderTalk could play towards too, but as you already outlined, there's not really a big scaling factor you're playing for. The damage is inconsistent. It's all poke, it's all burst. And BLG are just way too far ahead in stats to be able to get threatened by it realistically.
Yeah, 88.5% I think is the highest I've seen from this so far on a projected win.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame them for that one again. If I just the comboing of the Galio, the Ahri, and the Varus like this, just there's no damage. I know I've said it. I feel like I'm just beating a dead horse, but I don't know what else to say. It feels like there's just no way that you can kill BLG.
Well, for BLG fans, at least they are content that their favorite team is living up to the mantle that they have earned for themselves throughout their victorious 2024 season in the LPL, being able to pick up back-to-back titles. Obviously left a disappointing taste in fans' mouths, coming up short in split 1. But BLG, all business in this first game against ThunderTalk. Definitely going to have to take a trip back to the drawing board and seeing what they can do different in game 2. And at least very content that they will never have to say this draft again, but ThunderTalk just trying to still play it out to the very end. Otacon GAs were picked up here, so BLG can really play with abandon, as Bin is finding a flank here, and here they go. They pull the trigger right onto 1xN. A flashless Varus is going to get stunned up here, but the Equalizer, not enough damage to actually cook him, but Bin is going to force the issue by flashing on forward with the Flame Spitter. The bullet time rips through the cow, turns it into ground beef, and Hoya still on the run, but dies to the burn anyway. SeTab trying to retreat, but will not find any ground. BLG, they don't drop a single man since it was Otacon GAs on their side. And even though the death timers are short, I think they have what it takes to finish here. But I think they're going to take it patient. Just going to go for the open inhibitor and continue to play for the soul instead.
I mean, this is the BLG that I think was so scary in past LPL splits. I mean, last year, BLG 15-1 in regular season spring. They were the team that always took care of business. In playoffs, in summer, only dropped a game on that run. I think the scary part, like LPL, a lot of the times, you know, you see teams drop games. There's a lot of variance in this league, a lot of good teams too at the top. But BLG were the team that always took care of business. I think that's a big part of them instilling confidence in their fans, and a big part of the reason why fans really want to see this team and only this team compete international before any other LPL teams, just given what they've accomplished domestically and internationally. This team has insane pedigree on it, and I know that ThunderTalk was a team they dropped to again in split 1. BLG had their oopses, had their woes, but this is the split where we're playing to go to MSI, playing to get back to that championship where BLG would be the defending champions coming in.
Yep.
And BLG, and this is the start of their run to really make it back to that stage and reclaim the international dominance and one of the top teams in the world moniker that this team has owned when they have been at their best in the past. Yeah,
I think it's definitely fair to say that, you know, off season they had to take extra time, even post Demacia Cup not really participating. They had a developmental team play for them instead, and obviously split one. A lot left on the table, but this time for the rest of the season, they've got 8 weeks ahead of themselves. As TT are going to try to jump onto Bin. He's got no stasis to protect himself, so it's a guaranteed 5-on-4 advantage for TT. Comes at the cost of an inhibitor tower on that top side of the map. BLG just making their retreat. Wade potentially threatening to look at SeTab. He's already isolated. It's only Beichuan, but Hero's Entrance will stall the fight a little bit. El can't really get in there to follow up, but the bullet time will, and that cone is deadly. Beichuan falls in the back as well, and suddenly, just like that, BLG have created the numbers advantage for themselves once again. It's just down to 1xN and Feather, but BLG should have the strength to push it in for the win.
No need to base with Ocean Soul. Bin has TP in 13. This is going to be, I mean, it's pretty rare with Baron spawning at 25 that you see pre-27, pre-28 wins, but of course, BLG going to make it happen in this game one.
Nexus turret starting to fall here. Feather will try one last time to look for Elk, but a clean flash prediction will deny Feather any chance for a miracle comeback. And a teleport coming in from Bin. BLG standing on the doors of the footsteps of that base. ThunderTalk, no chance. It's BLG all day, every day with a game one win.
You know, I might have slipped up and said something I shouldn't have in the middle of that first series where I was saying that, you know, this is the series that we might be like, oh, can ThunderTalk, you know, maybe like contest a team they beat before and then BLG just absolutely wipes them.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like that would ring true in this game one as BLG spawned into the series, have a nice Rumble Vi draft and absolutely wipe the floor with ThunderTalk and a draft where they lacked some damage and maybe made me pull my hair out a little bit behind the scenes as that game was a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for BLG, it's got to be like this for 8 weeks, right? If they want to return to
that's the hope if you're an LPL fan.
And that is it's a long road ahead of them. This series still isn't even over yet. Obviously, it's a best of 3. BLG have to win one more game. But if they are performing like this and taking care of business consistently like this throughout the season, it may not be, you know, the easiest expectation to live up to, but that's the mantle that you have put yourself into when you are 2-time LPL champions, dominating the 2024 season, winning MSI. This is how you get back for a chance to defend your crown at MSI later this year, which will be taking place in Vancouver. Shout out to NA.
The team with Bin and Knight in a meta where everyone's forced to lane against Bin and Knight is gonna, you know, do well and has expectations that are monumental. Who would have thought? I mean, I got these two players. They're world class. This team's world class when they're at their best. I think it really speaks to how good this team is that they did what they did, split one, and no one really cared because they know that when BLG is on form, they are the team to beat, and we'll see if BLG can be that. Against the rest of Group Ascend. They did sure seem that way against ThunderTalk today, a team that, frankly, we don't have the highest hopes for in Group Ascend, but hey, to be fair, we didn't either for FPX. These are the 2-3 seeds or that made it through, or one of the 3 seeds that made it through, right? ThunderTalk did earn their spot.
Yeah, ThunderTalk was 2nd seed in their group, respectively.
Still, we have them as probably a bottom 3, bottom 4 team in this group. To be fair, we had FPX as a bottom 2 team. They did show up against IG. Didn't really see that from ThunderTalk. Again, I think it's hard to play out that draft when things don't go your way early. So definitely saw them run out of damage quite early in that game, and that game felt quite uncompetitive.
Like we said, ThunderTalk are going to have to go back to the drawing board for that one. I think just the way that they wanted the game to play out for the kind of the slim conditions, they really backed themselves in a corner within were very hard to achieve. It really did feel like if this Varus wasn't accelerated, you couldn't have that oppressive poke and siege. You don't have a ton of disengage. You have ways to counter engage with Hero's Entrance. You can try and push threats back with Xin Zhao, but you know, I almost feel like it would have really benefited from seeing something. I mean, maybe I'm overreaching, but like a Janna, where as soon as people are jumping onto you, you have an immediate pushback. You have an immediate.
Yeah. I think it's really hard to play that in the like Virel Rumble, but
There's just an overload of follow-up. Yeah.
They just need damage. I like this the Roa Ari build. It kind of takes longer to get online, and the Varus Galio around it, again, it's just not enough damage. So definitely saw that it'd be an issue quite early in this game for ThunderTalk. Yeah, they were. I mean, I feel like the answer, because they went with Varus Galio early on. I feel like the answer has to be just a different mid laner. Like, you just have to go with a higher damage mid into that matchup. Maybe it was. It's kind of hard to play Orianna against like Vi, Rumble, and Rel, but it's like you got to take someone mobile. Maybe it was just a Silas game on the flip side, but I don't know. Definitely a tough look for ThunderTalk, and we were pretty high octane, pretty antsy after the first series, every game of that one, where, you know, it's a 1 kill plus a minute and some swap coming out from each side on top of some good plays, whereas this game was pretty much just BLG taking care of business and looking like the BLG we're used to seeing here in the LPL.
Yep. Squeaky clean from BLG. Not many moments that you can really point out in this game from BLG and say this was egregiously bad. If deaths happened, it usually was worth in the long run and gain an advantage for the team. Hell, when we look at the, I think it was the second dragon where Jeje ends up going down, it's an overforce from TT, right? They are wasting so many cooldowns to get very little. Bin is getting solo time on the top side of the map to push in the towers. BLG overall just making really strong macro trades and decisions on what to give up, knowing what they're going to gain afterwards as well. I'm
ready to see the plug and get into the next game, Raafaa.
Yep,
there's nothing else that I can say. Yep. How was your day? We're like relegated to this now.
We're in the podcast moment. I mean, yeah. I got to co-stream with you for a little bit during NACL. That was fun.
That was fun.
The first series was pretty cool. I'm sad I didn't get to finish out the CCG NA series with you, because that looked like to be a little bit of a banger.
It was. Yeah, and NA also struggled with a bad draft in Game 3. Happens, but nothing was as entertaining today as the first series between IG and FPX, and what was a turbo banger. And I got to watch the Shy play some Renekton, which always makes me a happy camper. He is quite a good Croc player, and always has been. So anyway, let's give Elk the series MVP, or I should say game MVP, and then we can get on our way out of here. How about that, Raafaa?
I'm down.
Yeah, it's probably Elk MVP, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll reward the boom damage. He made some nice plays stepping up in that game.
Damn, they're really drawing this one out.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Yep. Oh, who would have thought?
Misfortune, baby. Only one death, and it was just the one time where he flashed for the Alistar early on in the laning phase, and SeTab, was able to get that first roam. But other than that, Elk very well protected, or very well spacing, or good, excellent spacing in a lot of the fights, knowing that when he could step up, and as soon as the moment presented themselves, yeah, he owned them.
It's nice to be a bloodthirster rusher in a game with low damage, and it felt like every bullet time was uninterrupted, and again, the boom damage was real from Elk. So well-deserved game MVP, as he really helped highlight a dominant game 1 from BLG, and we'll see if they can string things together again in game 2.
All right, break time, y'all. Y'all know the drill. When we come back, game 2 between BLG